So we had the piecewise function f of x is equal to the piecewise function 4x plus 5 when x is less than 2 and 3x minus 8 when x is greater than or equal to 2. So how can we find the value of f of negative 2, f of 2, f of 5, and f of 3? Well, let's start with f of negative 2. So f of negative 2 is equal to, now how can we evaluate f of negative 2 using this piecewise function? Well, you need to find the appropriate portion. Like, should we use the portion 4x plus 5 or should we use the portion 3x minus 8? Which portion should we use? We need to use 4x plus 5. And the reason why we need to use 4x plus 5, negative 2 is less than 2. Negative 2 is not greater than or equal to 2. That's not a true statement. However, negative 2 is less than 2. That's a true statement. So therefore, we need to use the top portion 4x plus 5. Now, when we use that top portion 4x plus 5, we need to plug in negative 2 for x. So it's going to be 4 times negative 2 plus 5. The 4 times negative 2 is negative 8, and negative 8 plus 5 is negative 3. So that is f of negative 2. So that is the value of f of negative 2. So basically what you need to do is find the appropriate portion. Then you just got to plug in x for that specific value, and then you get your solution. Now, what about f of 2? How can we evaluate that, f of 2? So what portion of the piecewise function should we use? Well, we're not going to use 4x plus 5 since 2 is not less than 2. That is not a true statement. However, 2 is greater than or equal to 2. 2 is equal to 2. So we need to use the bottom portion 3x minus 8 because 2 is less than 2. That is not a true statement. So we need to use 3x minus 8. And when we do so, we need to plug in x for 2. So it's going to be 3 times 2 minus 8. So 3 times 2 is 6. 6 minus 8 is negative 2. And that's the answer for f of 2. Now what about f of 5? Let me write here. So we have f of 5 is equal to, so which portion of the piecewise function should we use? We need to use 3x minus 8 again because 5 is not less than 2. It's not a true inequality. It's not a true statement. However, 5 is greater than or equal to 2. That is true. So we need to use the bottom portion, 3x minus 8. And when we do so, we need to plug in x equals 5 because we're trying to evaluate f of 5. So this is going to be 3 times 5 minus 8 using the bottom portion. So it's going to be 15 minus 8, which is 7. So that is f of 5. Now, what we're going to do is find the value of f of 3. So we have f of 3 here. F of 3 is going to be equal to, so which portion should we use? We're not going to use 4x plus 5 since 3 is not less than 2. That's not going to work. However, 3 is greater than or equal to 2. That is true. So once again, we need to use the bottom portion, 3x minus 8, and we need to plug in x equals 3. So 3 times 3 minus 8. So 9, this is going to be 9 minus 8, which is 1. And so that is the value of f of 3 using that specific piecewise function. Now let's move on to number 2. So here we had g of x is equal to the piecewise function 5x plus 6 when x is between negative 1 and 2, and here when x is equal to 2, and x squared plus 3x minus 7 when x is less than negative 1. Okay, so let's start with the first one. How can we evaluate g of 0? Which portion should we use? Now, we're not going to use 12 because if it's 0 equals 2, that's not going to be true. And so we're not going to use 12. Now we're not going to use x squared plus 3x minus 7 since 0 is not less than negative 1. So we cannot use that. That's not going to work. So we need to use 5x plus 6 since 0 is between -1 and 2. 0 is right there between there. So we need to use the top portion, 5x plus 6. So g of 0 is equal to, now 5x plus 6. We need to plug in x equals 0. So 5 times 0 plus 6. So 0 plus 6 equals 6. And so that is the value of g of 0. Now let's move on to evaluating g of 3. So g of 3. So which portion should we use? The top one, the middle one, or the bottom portion? So what we need to do is, first of all, we need to, now I do want to mention g of 3 is not, like, that's not going to work. I accidentally made that mistake right here. We're not going to evaluate g of 3 since it's not going to work for any of them. So I did make a mistake there, but so g of 3, we cannot do that using this piecewise function. But let's go ahead and evaluate g of 2. So let's say, so g of 2 is equal to, so which portion should we use? 5x plus 6 portion, the x squared plus 3x minus 7 portion, or the middle portion? So which one should we use? We need to use the middle portion. And specifically, why is g of 2 is equal to 2. So that's why we need to use the middle portion. So when we use that middle portion, 2 equals 2, right? So that means g of 2 is equal to 12. We don't need to do any math there. No need to do any arithmetic. And the reason why is g of 2 equals 12 because, well, we need to use the middle portion since 2 is equal to 2. But we don't need to do any math here since this is 12 and 2 equals 2. And we're trying to figure out g of 2. So it's directly given right there. The constant is there. So we can clearly see that g of 2 is equal to 12. And that's it. That's how you can evaluate piecewise functions. So if this video helped you out, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, because I'm going to be posting a lot of complex math and science, physics, chemistry, algebra, trig soon. So definitely wanna stay tuned on that. But yeah, make sure you subscribe and like this video because it really boosts out the video. And I'll see you in the next video.